Deep in the ocean swims the biggest animal that has ever lived on our planet. It is the amazing blue whale, an animal longer than 3 school buses and heavier than any dinosaur. It is a true giant of the sea. But what if I told you that its great-great-great-great-grandparent wasn't a giant fish at all? What if it was a small, furry animal that walked on land? Let's journey back in time, way back, 50 million years ago. Here, we meet a creature called Pakicetus. It was about the size of a dog, with 4 legs, a long snout, and a long tail. It looked a little like a wolf. Pakicetus was not a whale. It was a land animal that lived near rivers and streams, walking on the ground just like animals we see today. So why would a land animal ever decide to go for a swim? For snacks, of course. Pakicetus probably noticed that the rivers were full of tasty fish. It was a whole new place to find food, away from other hungry land animals. So it started to wade into the shallow water. First just its paws, then a little deeper. It was hunting for fish, taking the very first step from a life on land to a new adventure in the water. This wasn't some big, grand plan. It was just a clever creature finding a new way to get lunch. But wait a minute. How can we possibly know about an animal that lived 50 million years ago? We don't have a time machine to go back and see it. The answer is fossils. Scientists are like amazing fossil detectives. They search for clues left behind from a very, very long time ago. These clues are the bones of ancient animals, turned into rock over millions of years. And these fossil detectives found something incredible when they looked at the bones of Pakicetus. It wasn't its teeth or its legs that held the biggest secret. It was a tiny, special bone inside its ear. You see, all whales, from the giant blue whale to the playful dolphin, have a very special ear bone. It's very thick and heavy, and it's shaped like a shell. This special bone helps them hear all the sounds of the ocean world when they are deep underwater. No other land animal has an ear bone quite like it. But when the fossil detectives looked closely at Pakicetus, they found that exact same special whale-shaped ear bone. This was the amazing clue that proved this little landwalker was part of the whale family. It was the very first one. How do we know for sure that this land animal was the start of the whale family? The fossil detectives found the most amazing clue. It wasn't in its sharp teeth or its 4 legs. The secret was a tiny bone hidden deep inside its ear. This special ear bone is very thick and heavy. It's shaped in a special way that no other land animal has. It's a perfect match for the ear bones found in the giant whales that swim in our oceans today. This little bone is like a secret handshake. It's the key that tells us this landwalker was part of the whale family. It was built to hear sounds underwater, even before it lived there all the time. A few million years later, the next member of the family arrived. Meet Pakicetus. Its name tells its story perfectly. It means the walking whale. Picture this young explorer, an animal that looked a bit like a furry crocodile with powerful webbed feet. It could still walk on the land, but it was spending much more of its time in the water, becoming a master swimmer. The body of the walking whale was changing in wonderful ways. Its legs were becoming more like paddles. They were perfect for pushing through the water with great strength. It didn't paddle like a duck. Instead, it swam by, kicking its big back legs and wiggling its body up and down. This was a brand new way to move. If you've ever seen an otter or even a dolphin swim, you've seen this motion. The family was learning the dance of the ocean, a dance that whales still do today. Let's leap forward in time again to meet another ancestor named Pakicetus. This creature was spending almost all of its life in the sea. The ocean was now its true home. Its back legs had become tiny and weren't used for walking at all. And its front legs were now shaped much more like flippers, helping it steer through the deep blue water. The journey to becoming a whale was almost complete. But the most amazing change was happening right on their faces. Think about one of the most incredible parts of a whale. Its blowhole, that special nose on top of its head. But these first whale ancestors didn't have one. The journey of the nose is one of the greatest stories in the ocean. On Pakicetus, the nostrils were at the very front of its snout, just like a dog's nose. But as its children and their children spent more time in the water, something amazing started to happen. The nose began to move. Slowly, over millions of years, the nostrils traveled up the snout. On Pakicetus, they were a little further back. On later ancestors, they were even higher, almost between the eyes. This made it much easier to peek out of the water and take a quick breath without lifting its whole head. It was a super smart change. And now, for the big reveal. Let's put all these fossil clues together. Picture an amazing parade through time. First, we see the little land-dwelling Pakicetus, sniffing the air with its nose at the front. It steps into the water. Next in line is Pakicetus, the walking and swimming whale, with its webbed feet and its nose moving up its face. Then comes Pakicetus, living almost its whole life in the sea, with powerful flippers and a tail ready for swimming. This is the family tree of a whale, connecting the land to the deep blue sea. This isn't a made-up story. It's a true adventure written in stone. Each fossil is like a page in a book, and scientists are the amazing detectives who read these pages. They show us, step by step, how one kind of animal can become something completely different and wonderful. Let's bring our story all the way to today. Think about the magnificent blue whale. It's the biggest animal that has ever lived on our planet. And its whole family story started with that small, brave creature that looked a bit like a wolf. That huge, gentle giant that swims through the ocean owes its amazing life to a tiny ancestor that dared to dip its toes in the water. From a little walker to the king of the sea. What an incredible journey. And the best part? This amazing story is still being written. Scientists are always digging and discovering new clues, adding new family members to this incredible tree. They are finding new pages to the whale's story all the time. It leaves us with so many wonderful questions. What colors were these ancient animals? What sounds did they make as they swam through those ancient seas? The ocean is full of amazing, unfolding stories, and this is one of its greatest. The story of the walking whale is a secret whispered by the ocean itself. It tells us that the sea is a world of amazing change. It shows that even the biggest giant can start as a small adventurer. And right now, deep beneath the waves, new stories are just beginning, waiting for our next journey of discovery. After millions of years, new whale ancestors were swimming in every ocean. They looked a lot more like the dolphins and whales we know today. They were expert swimmers, spending their whole life in the water. But they still held on to a tiny secret from their past. These new sea creatures, like one called Dorodon, still had something amazing. They had tiny, little back legs. They were too small to use for walking or even swimming. They were just a little reminder, a whisper from their grandparents who once walked on land. Over more time, even those tiny legs disappeared completely. The whale's body had finished its amazing change. Its tail grew wide and powerful, splitting into two big flat parts called flukes. This new tail could push them through the water with incredible speed. But how did these swimmers get so huge? Going from the size of a dog to the biggest animal on Earth is a giant leap. It wasn't just about becoming a better swimmer. The ocean itself offered a secret power-up. In the water, an animal's body is supported. It's like being weightless all the time. On land, getting too big is hard on your legs, but in the ocean, there was almost no limit. This opened the door for them to become giants. Picture the incredible blue whale. It is the biggest animal that has ever lived on our planet, bigger than any dinosaur. And it grew to that giant size by eating some of the smallest creatures in the sea. Tiny shrimp-like animals called krill. This amazing journey created a whole new type of animal that changed the ocean forever. Whales became the gentle giants of the deep. By diving deep to feed and coming up to breathe, They mix the ocean water, which helps tiny floating plants grow. So the next time our journey brings us a glimpse of a whale, remember its incredible story. We are looking at a creature whose family traveled through time. They went on an adventure from the land to the sea that lasted for millions of years. This connects every animal on land to the giants of the deep. It shows us that all life on Earth is part of one big, amazing family tree. The biggest animal in the world started as a small walker with a big sense of curiosity. And that is the true wonder of our ocean. It is a giant book of stories, and we are just beginning to read the pages. Every wave that washes ashore might be hiding another clue to another amazing tale of life, waiting for a young explorer to discover it.